Clare FM's In the Garden with Clonroad Garden Centre, Clonroad Business Park in the heart of Ennis. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just starting out, our friendly staff are here to help your garden grow. Open 7 days a week, Monday to Sunday.
And I'm joined as ever for In the Garden by Judy Beck from the Clonroad Garden Centre. Judy, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Alan, and another gorgeous morning today.
Yeah, I was just going to say, for some of those rare occasions when you say very good morning, actually,
you mean it.
I mean it, yeah, exactly, yeah. And when we get good weather, I do say good gardening weather. I don't know whether you were working in the Clonroad Garden Centre or whether you were out in your own garden. Either way, lovely way to spend it.
Well, I was working on Saturday and we were super busy and managed to do quite a lot of work in my own garden yesterday, which was great and perfect weather for it. And I hope the listeners had a chance to do a bit of gardening too. Yeah,
because Judy will be giving us some jobs the week ahead. So hopefully you got to the ones from last week over the weekend. It is 086 1800 964 if you have a gardening question for Judy. There is a €25 voucher for the Clonroad Garden Centre to be won for one listener. But look, even if you don't win that, you will get a great answer to your question. But that is all to come. Before we get to that and the jobs for the week, Judy, you're going to take us through this week's topic. And this week you have chosen long flowering summer perennials. Tell us why and tell us more about long flowering summer perennials.
Yes, so I've noticed as the customers come in this year, and of course we've had a busy season, and a lot of customers, the trend seems to be towards getting long flowering summer perennials. And also we get a lot of tidy towns committees coming in buying from us, and they're looking for long flowering summer perennials as well, especially ones that are good for the bees and for the butterflies. And people seem to be going away a little bit from the annual flowers and asking for things they don't have to replant every year. Now, I suppose the reason people buy the annual flowers is because of the length of time they flower. So you get months and months out of annual flowers, and that's why people buy them knowing they won't come back, because they get these months of flowers. But some people, they don't want to be replanting every year. Maybe they're getting on in years and they just can't be doing a lot of gardening. So they want to put in things that will come back year after year and just have the little bit of less work to do. And of course, a lot of people are too busy as well to be planting up every year. But what people want is summer perennials that flower for a long time, because quite a lot of perennials, they only have a short flowering season. So they have their few weeks of flowers and then they're gone. But there are some perennials that will give you a long flowering season over the summer, and those are really popular with customers.
Okay, easy to see why. Long lasting and low maintenance, a winning combination.
Absolutely.
And that could extend to more than just flowers. But tell us, when you talk about long flowering summer perennials, what type of flowers you're talking about? How extensive is that list?
It's extensive enough that you can definitely fill your garden with flowers. And, especially if you have a small garden, every plant really needs to pay its way. So a long flowering summer perennial will definitely give you bang for your buck, because in a small garden, if you have plants that go over with flowers very quickly, you're stuck looking with it then for the rest of the year and just looking at maybe greenery. And so if you can get a few long flowering summer perennials into your small garden or into your big garden, you're definitely on a win-win situation there. And some of the ones that we would recommend, Black-Eyed Susan, a lot of people would know that one, comes out in July and flowers right through into the autumn. It's a gorgeous yellow flower with a black eye. The salvias, so many different types of salvias. They're great for pollinators, bees and butterflies, other beneficial insects. The Salvia cardona, probably the cottage garden plant, would be very well known. But there's newer salvias like Hot Lips, which is a evergreen plant actually, and the bees absolutely love it. Just to mention a few others, the cone flower, or known as echinacea. Some people might know that because it's also used in medication. But the cone flower, vibrant pink colours, absolutely gorgeous, long flowering. And Coreopsis, yellow, kind of a shrubby perennial, a woody kind of perennial, but lovely yellow flowers, a flower for ages, again really good for the bees. And just mentioning the bees and going kind of that environmentally friendly way. Of course, with perennials, they generally need less water because after the first year, they get deep roots, go down deep into the soil. So if we don't get rain for a fairly long period of time, they generally don't need watering after their first year because their roots are established enough and they take up water from the soil.
Okay, so quite an extensive list there. But whilst the perennials can be low maintenance, people might think, you don't have to put much effort into these. You do have to put effort and thought into where exactly you place them.
Well, you do, and it's very important to remember to get the right plant for the right place. So there's no point in putting a plant that needs full sun into a very shady corner of your garden. It won't do well, it'll be a waste of money, and the plant will probably end up dying. So if you have a shady area, pick a perennial that will work well in shade. And some of those, for example, would be, the foxglove will do good in semi-shade. Some of the heucheras will do good in semi-shade. And there's others like a vinca, quite a lot of plants that will do well in shade. But it's so important to pick the right plant for the right place.
Okay, the soil then, how much effort has to go into prepping that?
Well, preparation is key, isn't it? And fail to prepare to fail, as they say, as somebody famous once said. So make sure you take out all your weeds, all your stones, loosen up your soil to 6 to 12 inches and mix in some good compost or well-rotted manure and that would be great. If you can prepare the soil to start with, then you're definitely onto a winner. And then dig your hole about twice the size of the pot that the plant comes in. And make sure when you're planting and this goes true for almost all plants, not to bury your plant in soil. So it should be at the same level as what it came in the pot. So when you take the plant out, make sure first of all that it's well watered. Very important not to plant a dry plant, not to sow a wild plant, let me try that again. Sow a dry plant. So make sure
Peter Piper picked a pick of pickled peppers.
Falling over my words. So make sure your plant is wet before you sow it. That's really important. And if the roots are very tight, make sure you loosen them up as well before you put them into the planting hole.
Okay, all very important information to know on long flowering summer perennials. It is 086 1800 964 if you have any gardening questions for Judy. 25 euro voucher for Clonroad, they doubled it there. Clonroad Garden Centre to give away to one listener. And other than that, even if you don't win it, as I say, you'll get some great gardening knowledge courtesy of Judy. But before we get to that, you have a few jobs drawn up for the week ahead.
I do, and it's strawberry season. So, but not only do we like strawberries, of course, also the slugs like them. So, a very good idea to put straw under your strawberries to raise them up from the soil. And slugs don't like going over straw, so that works really well.
Is that where the name comes from?
And that's where the name comes from.
There you go. Every day's a school day. Yeah.
Absolutely. Also the birds, of course, like strawberries. So you might need to net them at this stage because as soon as they start going red, you might lose a few to the birds and the slugs. Also now in this warm weather, make sure your polytunnel or glass house has plenty of ventilation. So make sure you leave the doors open and or at least windows open if you have them in a glass house, and that helps to prevent diseases. And we always seem to be talking about daffodils, but probably the last time this summer, because at this stage your daffodil leaves should be going brown and should be ready to be cleared away at last. So now you can do that. Clear away your daffodil leaves and tidy them up.
Okay, there you go, folks. Get to it in your own time, of course. No pressure. It is 086 1800 964 if you have any gardening questions for Judy, which quite a few of you seem to have. So let's get to them. First up is Ger, who's in Shannon. Good morning to you, Ger, and thanks for listening. Who's asking you, Judy, what is the best weed killer to use on buttercup weeds?
I wonder, is the buttercups you could have them in your lawn or in a flower bed. If they're in the lawn, make sure you're only using a weed killer for lawns, because if you use any old weed killer, it'll kill the grass as well, of course. And it is a mistake that people make, but you can buy a weed killer specifically for lawns. If you're using, they're in in your flower bed and you're spraying, be really careful not to hit other plants in the flower bed, so don't use on a windy day. And of course you have to, because some people say, I've cleared the weeds away and I want to stop them coming back, so what can I spray now on my flower beds? I'm like, no, you have to spray the greenery. That's the way weed killers work. So you don't spray an empty bed that you just weeded. You have to actually spray it on the weed, which brings it down to the root. Resolva is a really good weed killer, and you can get that in Clonroad Garden Centre, of course. And we have other varieties too. But yeah, a good strong weed killer for the perennial buttercup, which comes back.
Okay,
it's very invasive.
There you go, Ger. Martin is up next, who says, hi Alan and Judy. Hi Martin. Martin says, I have tall daisies and foxgloves in a bed. Could you recommend something to plant in front of them that will come again next year too?
Yeah, for sure. There's so many options in the garden centre at the moment. If you want something low-lying that will go over a raised bed, the campanulas are gorgeous at the moment. They're the purple bellflower. They're low-growing, really nice. Other fairly low-growing perennials would be, for example, you could put in some of the salvias. Beautiful. There are some low-growing ones that you can plant at the front of a bed, really nice. And of course there's Achillea or yarrow, very good for the bees and beautiful in front of daisies. Yeah, for sure. If you drop into the garden centre, we have more than two full tables of perennials, and I can certainly show them through you. There's one actually I love, it's called Mexican fleabane. It's a little white and pink daisy. Really, as we were talking about long flowering perennials, that's a really good one. And it does self-seed a lot, but it's really, really pretty and looks lovely at the front of beds.
Okay, very good. One here on hay fever from a listener who's dying of it and asking you, with a lot of hope, I'd say, is there any way to avoid pollen build-up in gardens for people with hay fever?
Gosh.
Other than, I don't know, closing the windows.
Oh, that's, imagine, it'd be awful to have an allergy to flowers. There are some flowers that have less pollen than others. So you could try going that way, but maybe if you went more, I know even the grasses have a lot of pollen. But I don't know, is there something you can take for when you're going out in the garden? Gosh, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure about the answer to that one.
Judy just has a look on her face of, due to my career and passion for gardening, I am so glad I am not you.
You said it in a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would be a bit of a problem. Yeah, I'd say maybe talk to somebody in the medical side of things, or go to your local chemist, and they might be able to better direct you. Yeah. Patricia O'Neill in Kilkee says, good morning Alan and Judy. Last year I bought quite a few bags of daffodil bulbs with the intention of setting them out in the park. I put them into the shed and then forgot about them for a few weeks. Then, when I eventually got around to setting them, I realised that the depth of soil in the park wasn't enough for the bulbs, so I set all the bulbs in containers, flower pots, and in the flower beds in my back garden, and they grew so beautiful.
Oh, good.
Now, you had the sound there that this was going to be a disaster. Now, as I need all that space for planting my summer flowers and making my garden look beautiful again for the summer, if I take out all the daffodil bulbs from where they are now, how do I preserve them until the autumn? Wonders Patricia.
Yes. So the ones in pots are easy to do, because you can lift the whole thing out, and probably the roots, the whole compost and everything will probably come away with them. So yes, you can empty your pot and put them somewhere where they'll still get light and sun, and let them die back naturally. And in the beds, you could dig them out, but you'd be better off probably to leave them where they are. And they should be dying away at this, but I know she put them in late, so maybe they're later dying away. But you kind of do need in the beds to let the leaves die away before you'd move them.
Okay, there you go. Patricia, great question. And it has secured you the €25 voucher for the Clonroad Garden Centre. You'll be making your way in from Kilkee to the centre to get your voucher and have a wander around. And as we've heard many times, they have lots on offer there. So I believe, isn't that right, Judy?
Yes, we look forward to seeing everybody.
Thanks very much. Fully stocked and ready to go.
Lots of colour.
My thanks to you, Judy.
You're very
appreciate
welcome.
it. As always, great answers for the listeners' questions. Judy Beck there from the Clonroad Garden Centre with us for In the Garden. If you ever have any gardening questions, not just on a Monday, send them in throughout the week and we'll put them together for Judy the next time she's in.